Welcome back to your daily tarot cards. These are your daily tarot cards for Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. Today we're pulling from the Energy Oracle cards. We have the broken heart. So I feel like you're healing over a broken heart at this time. And I feel like this is the Wheel of Fortune coming to a closure. This is what was playing all last week. And I feel like this is two separate things. I feel like for those of you that have had a long dark night of the soul, I feel like this is permission for you to move forward. For some of you, this broken heart led you to the door of spirit that we have over here. It could play for both. With me, it's both. I feel like this is my broken heart led me even closer to God, but also closer to spirit. Something that I've been pushing away my whole life. They're like, now you need to embrace this. I remember watching a healer's live, and all of a sudden I got all these channel messages. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay. So I just kept writing it down. They call it freehand. But I was writing. And they're like, you could become a medium in the future if you wanted. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, okay. And it's like all of a sudden all I could think about is spirit coming through. And I'm like, oh my gosh, all these spirits are going to be running through my house. And I've always seen them in the shadow form. And until my dad passed and Shane passed is when I could see spirit in all of its beauty. And I was just like, okay. And now it's like a different relationship. My whole mindset, my whole viewpoint is changed because now I can see them for what those are. And those around me, especially the younger generations that sit there and they see those shadows, I can sit there, even watching Teresa Caputo, thank God, God bless her. I've always been a huge fan of hers where she sat there and this little girl would see the same thing. And she's saying, those are just angels, boo-boo. Your sight is not in yet. And I could sit there and tell those same children the same thing. You're just enlightened, my love. You just cannot see them for who they are. It's a past loved one that is with you. They're not there to harm you, and giving them that sense of peace. It's like, it's okay, and I tell them, you can sit there and say out loud, I am not ready to see you. And they will leave you alone. I've done it many a times. For some of us, this is spirit saying that this is them, the white, and that for you to sit there and move forward to this abundance, they need you to put more effort in. They need you to put more into more action into what you're doing. Maybe there's a project that you wanted to do and you want to yield more abundance, and they're saying, go for it. Pull forward and do it. Another permission card with the broken heart and the action card. I feel like this is balancing you out. We have 33. That's the Holy Trinity. God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. It's also mind, body, spirit. It's also love. And I feel like this is another positive omen of yes. Put love into what you want to do to yield abundance. Maybe that abundance, is not on the necessary front of, because they do show me the 7 of Pentacles as well as the 8 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles is you loving and nurturing and putting all your energy into this, whatever this action card is for you. And with that, you're going to yield abundance. It will be out on display for the world to see. So if it's a healer or even a passion project, whatever you're doing will yield abundance and will be out on display for the world to see. But you got to put a little bit more effort in. You're doing great. You're on the right path. Another positive card. But they're saying you're going to have to sit there and put more effort in and to pull yourself even further up. To sit there and it's kind of like pulling ahead of the pack. So it's like you're different from everyone else. I don't like saying that because every single healer is different. I remember when the 4 of us were collaborating, how different people were, how very different. It's like, there were similarities in a sense, but very different. The way that they communicated, the way they worked, the way that, you know what I mean? And I love watching healers work. I love seeing the differences, learning, those of you that are deciding to open the door to spirit, and it's just like, that is a huge way to sit there and learn, is to watch fellow healers that you are inspired by, that you can sit there and watch them work. That's where I would get my channel messages. I would sit there and watch one in particular that I was very fond of. And, I would sit there before she even said anything. I would be like, this is what it means. But I wouldn't obviously go in their live and say anything. I'm sitting there to myself with a pad and pen. I'm like, oh, this is what that means. This is, I would see certain things. And she would say it within 2 seconds. And I'm like, okay, positive confirmation that this is where I am meant to be. I've always meant to be here. I just pushed it away for so long. So we're going to go into the deeper levels of things of the meaning, with the broken heart in reverse. Marks a time of renewal and hope. The pain and the trauma are behind you now, and you can trust that the greater joys are on its way. Whatever has happened to hurt you in the past, you are now free to move on. Very much going back to the Wheel of Fortune last year from the Wild Unknown, where they sat there and they had that orbital light, and they had the sticks around it, and they had the yarn around it saying, we put you back together. There was an owl on the left-hand side of the orb saying, universe put you back together, and now this is your time to shine. We're giving you permission to move forward. Like they said, the Wheel of Fortune moves for some in months, and some people it's years. And I feel like for me, it did take me years. Out of respect of my past relationship, for one. Because that wasn't anything that was minor. That wasn't just like a little blip. Like, this isn't a high school crush. Like, we had a whole life together and children and everything else. So it's like, honoring it the way that it should be honored, And also honoring myself. The fact that I needed to heal. And thank God I took that time to heal, because it brought me closer to God. And it also opened the door to spirit to me. To sit there and be like, you know what? Have the courage to sit there and see where this journey takes you. I just started doing daily tarot cards on my father's passing of anniversary, and it led to where I am now. So it's just like, you never know where that door is going to take you. It's just having the faith and believing in yourself to do so. The universe is much bigger in store for you. Sorry, the universe has much bigger things in store for you. So finish letting go of any residual grief and open your life to a new self-loving intention. Joyous connections will follow. And I feel like this is what they're saying. I feel like if you're like, I'm sorry, I'm congested. If you're thinking like, I feel like I am ready, the only way you're going to know that is taking a chance of if you like someone and they like you in return. Hopefully they do, and taking that chance on love. That's the only way you're going to know if you truly are completely healed. Obviously, honoring yourself and honoring the other person. That's very important, because you don't want to hurt them. You don't have to tell them anything you've gone through, especially if you don't know them. Spirit keeps saying for the air signs that someone from the past is going to come forward, and then like they've been checking your social media. So they obviously know you've gone through something. So hopefully they will be understanding. And obviously saying, you know what, I'm coming in this and I'm very fragile, but you know what, you also have to understand their side of things. That, if you're not, obviously you feel some sort of way that, you're not healed, then let them know. Because you don't want to hurt anyone. Hopefully you're not that type of person that doesn't care, like, oh, big deal, it's just no. You got to care about them too, because you can ruin them for someone else. I hope and pray that you don't want to be the cause of someone else's pain. You've just gone through the dark night of the soul. You don't want to sit there and cause that for someone else. Don't be that person. I release the pain of the past and live with compassion for myself. Love heals and renews me now. This could also sit there and just be like, giving you what you need. Maybe you weren't getting everything you needed in the past relationship. And this can be that brand new door to spirit, this could be, we're opening up a door of love for you. Spirit is sending you someone with this door opening. This is a whole new chapter for you in the sense that, this is heavenly sent. This person is heaven sent. It was just like, it kind of reminds me of my best friend. It's just like, when she met her now husband, they were both married. And they stayed friends. Not in not in an appropriate way or anything like that. Just friends. And now they're married. He ended up getting divorced. She ended up becoming a widow. And now they're together. 6 years strong. So it's like, you never know. Like, your life is running parallel in different forms. But it ends up coming together. So spiritual awakeness and a new beginning. The door opens onto an expansive energetic realm where all new beginnings originate. The orb of light will guide you through the clouds of the earthly world, leading you to a deeper understanding of the external identity, the source of all true value and power. This door opens onto a truly unlimited potential for the changes that happen here reach a deep in the core of your being. As such, and I feel like this is your soul waking up. When we talk about like our inner hearing and our inner sight, I feel like that's our soul seeing. I feel like, I kind of came to that conclusion over the weekend. Like, we talk about our inner sight. And I feel like especially those that are spiritual entities living a human experience, it's like you're being more open and that your soul is able to, partake in this. When we talk about listening to our listening to our gut, that is, the angels and God speaking to your soul self, saying, "Wake up, your human self is in trouble." When we see with our inner sight, our clairvoyance, our clairaudience, I feel like that is our soul seeing everything, for everything that it truly is. Like we see through our human eyes, but to actually see through that magical side of things, embracing that magical entity that you actually are, it's like, nothing else. The door opens to truly unlimited potential, for the changes that happen here reach deep into the core of your being. As such, this card often herds increase in power, the spiritual arts, and deepen connection with the spirit world. Don't be surprised if you find yourself becoming more intuitive, more aware of spirit's presence, more powerful in your healing practices. Now is the time to open to unexpected guidance and inspiration of spirit, to the magic and power of your true identity. I tell a lot of people, that I mentor, and I'm no way affiliated with Deborah Silberman or Astrology Answers. I just been a huge fan of theirs for the longest time. And Deborah Silberman is so kind to sit there, and they're very easy to understand. Very, they're 15 minutes, so like you don't get overwhelmed with information. And it's 3 videos that you watch, and then the 4th one is you go on a Zoom call, and she offers the more extensive classes, which is 6 weeks. It's like 2 to 3 hours of homework a night, and one-on-one teaching classes, and then you become a certified astrologist. That's all up to you. But I like, especially in this time where it's like I'm not as busy as I was last month. But it's like I could sit there and it's like, oh, I wish I had more time to do astrology classes. Well, now I do. And in that, I'm bettering myself, bettering my experience and knowledge to be that much more better of a healer. Because every single reading is different. Every single person is different. Every single experience is different. So just like, moving forward and, realizing that, you can better yourself in this time. So if you're that type of person where it's like you do feel like you're drawn to that, follow those favorite healers, especially when they're on lives, and see what happens. Sit there and take those classes wherever you feel like you're drawn to it, and better educate yourself. So when you get into that experience, if you do become, a reader, you're able to be that much more knowledgeable. So we have action. Energized effort and willingness to work. This card tells you now that it's time for a more aggressive forward movement. The galloping horse represents internal and constant action directed to your goals. This card upright indicates that you are on the right track, but your determination effort must increase. The white horse is the inner action of spirit and thought. The black is the outer work that still needs to be done. So continue taking action and trust your intuition. In time, you will break through and see the results you've been working so hard to create. So, you know what I mean? Sitting there and pulling yourself forward. Your knowledge will bring you forward. Like when I was reading for IG, it's like, ahead of the pack. And I'm like, well, I can't really say ahead of the pack because we're all very different. And it's like, with myself personally, it's like, I don't try to be better than anyone else. It's just like, people are drawn to you and they have a connection to you for a reason. Even speaking as myself, that I get readings from other healers, it's like, it's not just one, it's, multiple. You know what I mean? So it's just like, take what you can get from each reading and see where the common ground is with each one, where it's like, okay, they both talked about this. But understand every single healer in their uniqueness. There was 4 of us that collaborated, all very different, all very, in some ways we were similar. Maybe the tarot is what was similar, but how we read, how we heal, how we work, how we developed our beings and continue to grow our experiences, all very different. But you can sit back and just be like, and learn something from every single one of them and their experiences and how they grow. And you know what I mean? That's why it's like, there's nothing wrong with, having those people that you are inspired by to learn from, very much like they say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, so sitting there and watching those lives and see how they work. I remember having, a pen and paper with one of my favorite healers, and, I would sit there and obviously not interrupting their live or, trying to go on live and take over their live or anything like that. I would sit with a pen and paper and as she would read for certain people, certain things would come in for myself, and I would write it down, and then 2 seconds later she would say it. I'm like, okay, so obviously I have something if me and her are in agreement of the same things. Or I would talk out loud, be like, oh, this is what it is. Or I would see, their loved one or something like that. Or, I would get a vision of something and I would write it down and seeing if we corresponded with each other. And it's like, okay, there is something here. I can grow on this because, I'm sitting there and it's like we're on the same page. So it's just like certain things you can do to sit there and open your abilities, in a respectful way where you're not interrupting the healer and letting them do what they need to do. Our last card, Blooming Abundance. So this is where I saw the Seven of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. This card shows a beautiful green garden in the springtime with coins. So springtime, we keep getting springtime. I noticed that a lot. Last week's cards, the whole week, spring, leg bounce, spring. So I feel like spring is gonna, change things for the better. I know with I'm not sure if it was the 2021 forecast and projections. I know last year I kept saying this March things would have been better, and it's just like I have no idea now. It's just like they keep throwing curveballs at us, with the Rona. So, a beautiful golden garden in the springtime with coins and new beautiful blooms all around. They hang like fruit on the trees above. Upright, this card signals a new increase in wealth, possible in a dramatic and unexpected way. Be aware that you sow the seeds of your own wealth and prosperity. So that doesn't lie on anyone else but yourself. So if going back to the action card, are you relying on someone else to bring you forward? You don't rely on anyone. Sit there. How will you possibly grow and expand and gain experience if you're relying on someone else to carry you? You can't hop on someone's coattails and be like, drag me to the finish line. You got to do it for yourself. Much like the gardener works the garden and begins to see blooming results take hold. This card upright indicates that the universe is blessing you and helping the fruit of your labor to bloom. So smell the flowers and tend to the new growth. Be careful and enjoy. Be grateful and enjoy, So, you sit there and the door of spirit is open to you, and it's up to you to sit there and plant that seed and keep nurturing it. Plenty of sun, fertilizer, and water. Well, how do you do that? Well, you gain knowledge. You sit there, if you want to take Deborah Silverman's classes, or you go on YouTube. Plenty of healers on YouTube. Amazing. On Instagram. Follow them, turn on all the notifications, all the video notifications, so when they go live, see what happens when you're, obviously don't interrupt them. Let them do what they need to be doing. Sit there and write, have a pen and paper. What do you feel when they're sitting there reading for someone? And see if, anything comes up. Sit there, invest in a tarot deck. AliExpress has really good beginner decks, and you can find the meanings online, or you can sit there and go on Amazon when they have like 50% off, and you can sit there and invest in an Oracle deck that has a booklet. I really strongly suggest getting the ones with the booklets, because that's how you gain your knowledge. Because you'll sit there and read that over and over and over again, and all of a sudden you'll know what it means just by pulling the cards. You won't even have to use the booklet. It's good to use it when you do obviously stuff like this, because it's like some people, it's like, they're and no offense, it's like you were born to live a human experience, so it's like they're not open to spirit. For them, this is just a new door opening up, taking action in love. You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's living a different journey. Everybody's doing their part, but everyone is working towards the greater good. Nobody's part is bigger or smaller. We're all working to the ultimate goal, to better the world. So I hope you guys enjoyed these daily tarot cards for Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. May the universe bless you good. We'll see you for the next daily tarot card. Have a good one.